with Miami's Community News. We have a special guest today, Alexander Noda with Synovus Bank. Thank you for
Thank
being
you,
here.
Michael.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
There's been a lot of news about banking recently.
Yes.
And for the uninitiated like myself, I got pretty nervous a few weeks ago when a couple of banks in California said, "Oops, we got a
Yeah.
problem."
And New York.
And New York, yes. But the government seems to have stepped in and sort of calmed things. Tell us a little bit about that.
So yes, quite a good response from the government and the Federal Reserve. The idea is what happened with these banks is that they had a lot of concentration. So imagine if you're in the business of, I don't know, selling to schools, and all of a sudden COVID happens and the schools all closed down, and then you don't have a customer anymore. That's exactly what happened with these banks. They were highly concentrated, one in the technology, venture capital type of industry, and the other one in the crypto market. So initially, they benefited from the influx of deposits from these two industries, but then on the way out, they did not benefit from that. So it came
So,
down.
so they went after that market,
Yes.
and they wanted to be known as that
Yeah.
for whatever. And why does somebody do that to pick a market? Because other people would say run to that bank because they do what for an industry?
Yeah, it's a specialty banking. You could say that they concentrated in that industry, which is a good thing. It actually benefited a lot of the venture capital companies that needed venture capital. They knew that these banks specialized on that, and they actually went to that bank
And they go to that bank to deposit to run their business accounts.
to run their business accounts, to obtain loans, to
Okay.
of a friendly environment.
So if somebody specialized in that, they would attract somebody in that industry because they know if it's a real estate market, they know it well, they have the people or the tech.
Correct. However, what happened is that as the economy turned a little bit, right, and venture capital became a little bit more restrictive, these companies actually had to start burning through their deposits. The majority of these companies sometimes don't operate. They don't operate in a way that they're generating profits, right? So they have a high cash burn, which started depleting the deposits for the bank, which eventually led to some venture capitalists saying go to your bank and take money out, which led to a ripple effect. And
We've heard the term for years especially when the internet first started, the burn rate.
yes,
How much money they have until it explodes,
Mhm.
right? And with the hope they would get more investors.
more investors.
All right. So you've been with Synovus Bank for how long?
Synovus Bank, I started in October of 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic.
Congratulations. So, and let's talk a little bit about, first of all, why did you choose this bank?
So I chose this bank. Honestly, this is a quite interesting story. So I had recently departed Bank of America, who I worked for, a decade. Started my career with them, but then I just found myself in the middle of doing a career change. I just wanted to find something different, something that would actually I would be able to do something like what we're doing now, going out there, being in the community. It's not something that they would allow. So I just wanted Bank of America.
Didn't want you to do it. They had a
More of like a transactional type of situation. So they will just sit you in your cubicle, and then you'll just do your work there. Sort of talk to clients all day long, but you wouldn't be able to become necessarily a big part of the community. And I just wanted to be a part of the community, go out there, go meet people, and just do more.
And so each of the banks perhaps have their own little specialty.
Yeah.
And so you said, I want to go to this bank where I can go out and meet more people.
Yes.
So you're involved with some chambers of commerce. Tell us about those.
A lot of them actually. I'm personally a member of the Doral Chamber of Commerce.
Way to go, Doral Chamber.
With, Manny Sarmiento, great
Say
guy.
it one more time.
Manny Sarmiento
There
is
you
a
go.
great guy. Also with we're part of Armando Trabanco, my leader. He's part of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce with Lilian.
Yes.
And I'm also now a part of the Chamber South with Brittany. So it's doing great work in the community. Finally getting to do what I wanted, which is just meet everybody in this community and grow the name recognition of the bank.
So you work in the retail part of.
Yes.
Explain to people the retail part and then the other parts.
Okay, so yes, this goes back to your initial question about the financial crisis, right? One of the things that did not affect Synovus at all with this issue that banking crisis a couple of weeks ago is that we have a very diverse range of units within the bank. We're a full service banking institution. We have retail, we have trust, we have private wealth, a commercial, community, many areas, right? And that segmentation, what they do is that they create areas of specialty. So in retail, I normally service, the small business client, a person starting up their business, or maybe they have been in business for 5, 10 years, even longer, right? But then we have community. These are businesses that have in excess of maybe 50 to $100 million in annual sales. So it creates a different area of specialty and different people that have different areas of expertise that could service clients better.
It's similar to a big retail store.
Yeah.
Pick whatever you want. Okay, let's say it's the what's the name?
Macy's.
Yeah, you walk in, you go, okay, they have clothes over there, they have furniture
Yeah.
over there, they got fancy stuff, they got expensive ties, they got cheap ties. Well, not cheap.
Yeah.
All right, and they got shoes and furniture, a whole bunch. So it's the same with almost all banks.
It's the same idea. Imagine that same $1 million client that I told you about. This client is just buying the first property. Obviously, I could service that client in retail, but how about the client that's buying, a $200 million multi-unit building in Brickell, right? So this person obviously needs a different expert, and that's what we do. We create that segmentation so that we have a person that just concentrates on that and could service them better.
In 2008-ish or so, we saw some banks that were focusing a lot just on real estate. And I think Bank United was one of them, if I remember right. And they were financing everything, just about,
Yeah.
right? And then there was a problem
Mm-hmm.
in the real estate market, so they had a huge problem.
Yes.
So
We go back to the same thing, concentration. If
Yeah.
you concentrate your business too much in one area of the economy, the economic machine could switch from, something that could be booming now could not be booming in 5 years. So,
yes, and we see that frequently. And if you walk into, let's say, a pet store, it's a perfect example,
Yeah.
right? They got dog food, cat food, they got animals, they got leashes, they got collars, they have classes, they got the Miami-Dade County Animal Services. They let people, they go there with pets to adopt. So we have lots of ways that people can get different services at your bank. We currently have a branch in Doral.
Doral, we have one here really, really close to you in Bear Road and 59th Avenue. We have one in Pinecrest in US 1 on 118th, I believe. Biscayne, all throughout. We have many branches in Miami.
When you say Bird Road to me, I think of Arbetter's Hot Dogs on 89th Avenue.
That's right across from my house.
I know.
Yeah.
So, by the way, and I see over Tropical Park, as you know, there's a new cultural center that was put
Yes.
in. Thank
Beautiful
you.
spot.
Yeah, thank you for everybody with the county for making that happen, especially now former Commissioner and Senator Javier Soto. Great job.
Yes.
And figuring out what the people wanted. So when you meet somebody in the Chamber of Commerce, what questions do they typically ask of you?
Well, usually the first question they ask, believe it or not, it's who are we? Because we are fairly new in South Florida. We came out here with the acquisition of Florida Community Bank in 2019. And the pandemic happened just a couple of months later. So we didn't have the ability initially to do a lot of branding, a lot of networking, a lot of going out and meeting people in the community. So they normally ask who we are. They normally ask who we are, what we do, where are we located at, that type of stuff.
So with the switch in a 10-year period from people always going into a bank versus now they can do it from their
Mobile,
pocket,
yeah.
right? And it's an incredible transition.
Yes.
Some people that are younger, oh no, that was normal, but it wasn't that way. And it seems like only 10 or 15 years ago, some of the commercials would show people standing in line inside a bank.
Yeah, which is no longer the case though.
Yes. So because that obviously is done instantly. So but people do want to imagine in their place there's a building somewhere.
Yes.
And about 15 years ago, ALLY was financing cars. They had no offices, no retail offices. So people got a little bit used to that. And I know
Right.
there's a whole generation that want, but that are okay with it. The people that go to local chambers of commerce, they want to know about you and,
Yes.
and your place.
Yes.
Right. So in Doral, very friendly place, great organization out there, and it's well defined. And people that go to the Doral Chamber and then live there and work there are excited about Doral.
Yes.
Conversely, I could find some other places that are not so excited. So what is it like when you go to the Doral Chamber of Commerce?
I have a great relationship with Manny. We actually, go to almost every event that he puts up, and we actually have done stuff outside of the chamber. We meet each other, work on different projects. We're actually working on a soon to be started, hopefully, a networking group within the route to bring in networking professionals together and just to get more people involved into what the city holds and the vast number of businesses that we hold in that city. Manny, it's great as far as marketing your business. So he would do something like you have a large distribution channel, and he actually puts the name out there.
Well, I was at a recent event in one of the restaurants. Great food, by the
Yeah.
way. That people there, you can see they're friendly, and they want to talk with each other.
Yes.
And so, what is that like for you? The first time you started going to chamber meetings, business club being outside of the old bank. So, what was that like for you?
It was a little shocking. Obviously, if you haven't done something for 10 years of your life, it's a little challenge, right? I've always been good at having conversations with people one-on-one, but when you put yourself in front of a crowd, it's a whole different experience, right? But Manny helped out, you know. Chambers of Commerce, I think the biggest value you get is that you actually get the hand holding of the person running it, and they actually do take the time to introduce you to all the other members, all the other business in the area. It's a little shocking at first, but if you give it time, it's definitely a skill you could do.
Yeah, and I think most people go through that process. And if you've ever been, which obviously you go to restaurants and the owner's there,
Yeah.
or the top manager,
Yes.
he comes over and says hello to you. You go, this is so good. It's
Yeah.
like, wow.
Wow.
Because that's what we want. We do want to get that pat on the back, virtual sort of now,
Yes,
right? And we want to have that connection that's made.
absolutely.
Tell us about Chamber South. What is that like for you?
Chamber South, it's a recent introduction. I hadn't seen Brittany and actually your brother, right? All over social media, LinkedIn especially. And I just got curious. I'm like, my God, what they are doing, it's unbelievable, right? It seems like she has a clone. She's everywhere, right? So I just decided to reach out to her. We met in an event for United Way, and I just decided to have a conversation, sit down with another partner of mine, the gentleman that runs Bear Road, Cesar Villegas, and we decided to join forces and join the chamber.
That runs his Bird Road office.
The Bear Road
Okay,
office,
okay,
yes.
okay. And you're a member of another chamber. Tell us about that.
Armando Trabanco, my leader, he's the past chair, I believe, or trustee of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. As you know, they're massive. Lily's the one that runs it, and we participate a lot in their events. We recently had the Hispanic award ceremony in the Billmore Hotel. I believe it was 2 Fridays ago, no, actually it was last Friday. Fantastic event, fantastic way to be out there in the community and meet other institutions in this community, see the impact that Hispanic members have made in the community.
One of the things we recognize, one day we'll stop saying it, but post-COVID, is that there is a human desire to touch,
Yes.
face-to-face, and to talk, and to get that. And so there
100%.
was this lag period from the time, is it safe to go outside?
Yes.
To, it's almost as to what it is now. I think the catch-up is almost done, because most of the chambers are very, very busy, and people are really happy to be with each other.
Yes.
And as you know, we're at a lot of those events, and I watch those videos. There are a lot of happy people
Yes.
that are there. Finally got out. We're able to do that. I'm
Finally.
not getting sick. I'm not
Yeah.
getting anybody else sick. And so those 3 chambers and business clubs, those are pretty active for you.
Yes,
Right.
very active.
So if you could, are you familiar with any of the charitable community events that the bank is involved in?
Yes, we actually do a lot of work with Junior Academy. They are an institution that concentrates on doing financial literacy for young individuals. I have personally participated in a lot of those events. It's a fantastic opportunity to teach, middle schoolers and even younger kids how money works, how, financial literacy could definitely change your life. And it's a way also to touch your parents and show them how to manage their money, save, and all these things.
Certainly, when I went to school, there was really never that kind of conversation. You had to go out of your way to do that.
Yes.
And then with a lot of luck, you had some idea about what to do. And then we know their little eyes are watching us all the time. And when you go into the school system to teach people, you never know the kind of changes, the improvements you can make in somebody's life, because maybe one day they're going to go, I can do that.
Yes.
Look at, I could do that. They look like me. I could do that. Or I like the figures. And
It's
you see
about
that.
removing the misconception that money it's hard. In reality, money's not hard. It's a topic that everybody should have a conversation about because by engaging in dialogue, it's how you actually overcome this mental barriers that you have that this is just some sort of mystical force that you can't control. If you have an amount of money that you make and you have an amount of expenses that you make and the amount of money you make it's more than the expenses that you have, then you should have a residual, and that residual should have a purpose, and that's where we jump in and try to help you get there. That's the model of our company.
And so often, if a young person can grasp hold of that,
Such a simple
yeah,
concept.
that they also may gain the confidence of maybe I can grab this and this and this,
Yes.
and we see that. So my hat's off to you
Yeah.
for
Demystify the concept that this is complicated. It's simple, but because we don't talk about it, it becomes complicated.
there's no saying people would rather talk about their sex lives than money.
Yes, 100%.
And it's just like, it's quiet thing,
Yeah.
and you look on all the, when people talk, you realize that it's this hidden thing I shouldn't tell anybody, right? And even the spouse,
Yeah.
except for during a divorce.
Yeah, exactly. So think about it. In school, they teach you economics, they teach you financial analysis, they teach you all these things. They don't have a easy, simple class about how to manage your money, how to open a bank account, how to establish credit, how to do these sort of simple things that everybody would have to go through, and people have very little knowledge on.
So I hope that your bank and other financial institutions can help the young people, because the reality is in 5 and 10 years, they're out in the marketplace
Yes.
and struggling with that concept about what to do. So we know that social media has been providing avenues for people to make money
Yes.
than never before. I mean,
Yes. It's been unbelievable.
yes, and those people used to go to work for somebody, and then the boss would make the money in a box, whether you call it a manufacturing place or a news company or a restaurant. And we see that that's changed the workforce a lot.
A lot.
And so it's a struggle about how to get people, right? And when we look at the reports of unemployment and employment, it's so confusing for the uninitiated. The Fed saying we need to have higher unemployment in order to slow down inflation.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
That's actually something that happened very recently. I saw the presentation of the Fed in front of Congress, and they actually stipulated that if he wants to bring down inflation to the 2% historical average that they want to reach, I believe the gentleman from Louisiana mentioned that unemployment would have to go almost to 11%, and which is a little scary, right? As you might think. But yes, there's definitely been a challenge with acquiring people in almost every industry. Actually faced that a little last year, but it came back to the same thing: values. The company has solid, strong values. We care about the employees and employee diversity, which eventually led to an influx of applicants and employees now. So
That's great. And we know as time goes on, all this stuff balances out.
yeah,
The
it
sun
does.
comes up in the morning, it goes down. Well, actually, it doesn't. We move, but it's sunrise, sunset, tide in and out. And so it's shifting now. And we see that it's getting a little more stable, but we also recognize when the cold weather comes to Miami, right before the cold weather, we get huge storms.
Yes,
And then when the storm is gone, it's beautiful.
it's beautiful.
And so we hope the economy works the same way.
We hope so too. And obviously, no one wants that the economy goes through a bad patch, but I believe that this is something that happens. The economic cycle is just full of ups and downs. So I think that ultimately we just gotta continue going through the cycle, and I would definitely not advise anybody that has a good job now to make any transitions at the moment.
Very good advice. So tell us about your family.
My family, we're actually from Cuba, born and raised. I personally came here to the U.S. in December of 2006. Immigrant from Cuba. We won the lottery. We won the lottery. My family got the green card lottery, or yeah, I think it's called a green card lottery, and we made it out here in December of 2006. My mother is Marlene. Father is Orlando, and he was a business owner in Cuba. He had business owner, right? He had a meat dealer type of business, so he would buy hogs and process the meat and sell the hams in Havana. Had a really, really good business over there. We have a strong family foundation, very good people. My grandfather, Gilberto, he's like my dad too. He had a business as well, had a restaurant, Las Aspas del Molino, and almost everybody's here now. We still play dominoes every weekend and that type
That's
of stuff.
great.
So
Your family must be very proud of you.
I love my
And the work.
family, and I'm actually equally proud of them because what they have done here in just a couple of years has been amazing.
Let's go back 1960s when Cuban immigrants were first coming to Miami, and I'd seen the plans. So I said to my father, I don't understand how this works. These people from another country come over here, and in 5 years they're owning houses. How does that work, right? And they're in the banking system already.
Yeah.
How does it? And they explained to me, when people immigrate, it's because they want more,
Yes.
and they've driven more.
Yes.
And I never thought I had a silver spoon, but in comparison, it was like, well, why don't I work that hard, right? Because and you see that, and it's wonderful to see people making contributions to the community, whether they're here or from any part of the world.
I think that what happens, at least what happened to me in my personal experience, is like we usually have this saying that the grass is not greener on the other side. Well, we come from the other side, right? Where it might not be that green. And when you have seen what's not so good, and then you come to a place like America where honestly almost everything is perfect, you just decide to take advantage of the opportunities given, right? You are also very curious because you don't know how things work. So you have a propensity to ask questions. Ask the person that already owns a home, how did you do it? The person that has a business, how did you do it? And then with that curiosity comes opportunity because then people want to help you. So I think it's just a function of being open to the opportunities given.
A few years back, I went to a restaurant on Bird and 130th Avenue, and they had an immigrant's boat out front. And I just sat down next to it and imagine what these people went through. They were willing to risk their lives in order to get here,
Yeah.
right? And so it's very moving for people that are from Miami to know that we were born here, and so we didn't have to make the trip. We all make different trips,
Right.
but in that case, being able to come over. So Alexander, what a great story! Congratulations on
thank
being you're the retail manager at Synovus Bank.
Synovus in Doral. Yes.
In Doral, and you're active again in the local chambers of commerce. So I will see you soon, especially the one in Doral, I guess next week or the week after.
Awesome, man. Thank you so
Alexander,
much for
thanks
having
so
me.
much for being
Appreciate
here.
you.
And take us out, folks. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.